I'm absolutely obsessed with blue lock, so I got myself a little something, and Isagi comes with his little steak, so I thought it would be perfect to make the blue lock steak to go watch the movie.
This is the recipe you're looking for if you want something easy and delicious to make. And the best part is that you only need 4 ingredients. Well, and butter. First, I will give my potato a good wash because I'm going to cook it with the peel and everything, and I don't want a dirty potato. If you're lazy like Nagi and also me, this is the perfect recipe because you will only need to wash the potatoes and cover them with aluminum foil. But don't forget to check if the potato is completely covered with the aluminum foil so it can properly cook. Then you just have to put it on the oven at 350 and forget about it for half an hour, which is more than enough time to make the rest of the dish. So for the meat, I will use Swiss steak. But it's better if you can use skirt steak because it's a little bit softer than Swiss steak. But it was also a little bit too expensive for me, even more after buying those blue look figures. So you use what you can. So my father taught me that you have to cut against the lines that you see here on the meat to get it softer when you cook it. So I will cut it this way. I wanted it to be a little bit taller, so I will measure 2 fingers and cut it right there.
To season the meat, I will use sal parrillera, which is similar to sea salt but a little bit smaller.
You can use regular salt, but I do prefer to use salt with bigger crystals to give it more flavor. Put enough salt to lightly cover the top and then just repeat on each side. After that, I also decided to add a little bit of black pepper. Then you let it rest for 15 minutes to enhance the flavor.
I recommend to leave the meat to marinate for at least 15 minutes or half an hour because that way the meat will have a tastier taste. A tastier taste? Well, you got what I meant.
And I will take this time to make the vegetables. Let's start with the asparagus. Here you have to trim some of it because they tend to be woody and tough on the bottom part. I do not recommend to use a knife for this because I think it's better to use your hands to break off that part. The asparagus will break exactly where the woody part starts. So you will make sure to get rid of all of that part without having to measure where to cut. Next, I will peel 1 carrot and cut it. I will try to make the carrots have the same width as the asparagus so I can cook them together. And I will steal 1 carrot for myself. They go into a pan and I will pour boiling hot water on top of them. It's important to not cover all of the asparagus with the water. The water has to be just at the middle of the carrot. Because if you add too much water, the vegetables will overcook and that's not really that great. Then this is optional, but I will add half a tablespoon of butter to after fry them a little bit. Here I have a secret my mother taught me. If you want the asparagus to maintain that beautiful green color, just add a pinch of baking soda. Adding a tiny little bit won't affect the flavor, but believe me, it will make them look great. I will let them simmer until the water has fully evaporated. To finally add a bit of salt on top and let them fry for less than a minute. Now that they are ready, I will just leave them aside to start cooking the meat.
I want the meat to have that red interior like the one in the anime and also the one my figure has, so I will cook it medium rare.
Into a pan goes 3 tablespoons of butter. And yeah, it sounds like a lot, but it has to be enough butter so you can shower the meat using a spoon. Let it melt in high heat because we need the butter to be really hot. When the butter is fully melted, it's time to lower the temperature to medium-high heat, and there goes the meat. I'm not a chef, so I will just tell you what I do to try to get a medium rare steak. First, I let one side of the meat cook for 2 minutes while I cover it with the butter using a spoon. Then I flip it over and repeat the same thing. As I told you before, I'm not a chef, And I make these videos to learn how to cook more things, having fun with it. So cooking meat is not something I usually do, but I love trying new things and sharing them with you. Okay, the 2 minutes have passed, so now I need to sear the other sides of the meat, and I will leave them less than 1 minute each. Finally, check if it's cooked.
One way to know that the meat is ready is to touch it with your finger, and it should be warm. Not hot, not cold. It should be just warm. Another way to test if the meat is ready is to take a knife and pinch the meat. Then you take it out and you put it on your lips. It should feel warm. If it's cold, the meat is undercooked, and if it's hot, like burning hot, is overcooked.
Okay, I think it's ready, so I will let it rest for 5 to 7 minutes so the meat can absorb all the juices and get more tender. In the time, I will make the sauce.
And the anime we saw that the meat has a little bit of sauce on the bottom, so I will use the same pan I used for the meat to make a sauce.
For that, I will take out the butter that was on the pan and leave it aside. Here on the pan, we have all the flavor of the meat we cooked. For that, I will also need to use 30 grams of hot water with half a cube of meat bouillon. Bouillon. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right, but I really don't know how to say it. By the way, you can also use 30 grams of any meat broth. Now you put the pan back to the stove and leave it on medium heat. Then you pour the hot water to remove everything that was left on the pan when cooking the meat. And you will see that it will start turning into our sauce. Then you just need to add half of what was left of the butter we used for the meat. Turn off the stove and mix until it gets thicker. So finally, here is the sauce for our meat.
Okay, the meat, the sauce, and the vegetables are ready, and we only need to check the potatoes.
Take them out of the oven and prick them with a fork. The fork has to go in easily, and that way you know that the potato is ready. Then you just have to cut it in four and get back to our asparagus. On the anime, they only use the head of the asparagus, that is the best part, so I will cut it and add it to the plate. But don't worry, I won't waste the asparagus, I will eat it when I'm off camera. Finally, I will put everything together. If you use an iron pan like me, put everything together inside, and that will make it look like the one on Blue Lock. You can also do it if you're lazy as me and don't want to wash any more plates. This dish is really practical to make, and I get why Isagi was happy to finally eat it because it's delicious. Also, if you liked the video, don't forget to give me a like and subscribe to watch more recipes.